Yeah, probably not. Liquid sunshine, you know.
There you go.
The usual.
Yeah.
This isn't in order, and this one is.
Okay.
This,
Yes, legislator Barnhart.
Hello, can you hear me?
yes.
Great, thank you.
We good? Good forward. Cool. So welcome everyone to the March 20th Monroe County Planning Board meeting. We have another presentation today. We'll have to eventually close after reading some of the public comments and answers, we'll close the public comment. And then we'll vote on CIP and then prioritize this coming year's projects. So why don't we get going? I'll take call. Bill Santos here, Mike Wiedemer here, Sam Trapani, Andrew Hollister,
Present.
Orlando Rivera
Here.
Dave Watson
Here.
Millie Safranik, Bud Colby. There we go. It's just joining. Robert, can we do a sound check with you?
You hear me?
Yep, gotcha. Legislator Barnhart.
Hello.
Hi, welcome. Jeff McCann, Adrian Green, Amy Grower, Connor McMahon.
Here.
Thank you, hey, Connor. Robert Franklin, Joe Taddeo. Hey, Joe. Richard Tantalo.
Here.
Welcome. Christina Doherty. Christina. Sean Murphy. And Annie Frazier. Oh, Andy, thank you. Good, and Yashan.
Yesterday, director of the county DOT Tom Fry, and also have Jennifer Curley from the sheriff's office and deputy chief Fowler. Welcome. And from the planning department, our director of the planning development, Alan Liz, and Pat Gooch, and myself, Ishanit, and also our supporting clerk, Lisa Hampton. Thanks.
Thank you.
So we also have Josh Peterson from the law department and Rich Perrin from the DS.
Thanks for coming. Welcome, everyone. First item on the agenda is approval of the March 13th, 2025 meeting minutes. And I need a motion for those, please.
So moved.
Thank you, Mike.
Second.
Thank you, David. Any discussion on those minutes, comments, corrections? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, minutes are approved. Thank you. Next is announcements and communications. And I believe, Yishan, you have some comments from last week.
Yes, so we received some follow-up from Monroe County Parks and provide some additional information after last week's meeting. One is regarding around Park System Trail Survey Study. So Park received a total of 971 survey responses, and in addition to that, it's a 336 online mail responses. And they anticipate the full report will presented to the county in the spring. And the Parks Department also expressed that it's difficult to forecast the use of the survey results without seeing the final recommendation in place. But they anticipate some of the recommendation can be implemented without significant financial resources and further study. And the next responses regarding the Northampton Park Trail Study. So Parks provided kind of a rough timeline. So they anticipate the project would kick off through the March to July 2025, and they will start inventory and existing study through April, also from April to July 2025, and the recommendation might come out in August 2025, and the final report they anticipate will become available in the fall 2025. And also, we received some responses from different departments regarding Genesee Regional Oral Cyclist comments. So those comments, one of the comments regarding the Parks Trail kiosks and online map updates, Monroe County Parks provided below. So Monroe County Parks, in accordance with the GIS division, is currently inventory maps and kiosks throughout the park system and making improvements where necessary. Currently, the department has completed the mapping, kiosks, and trail markings at Black Creek Park, Northampton Park, Addison Park, Webster Park, Mendenhall Parks, and Lucien Marine Park. They are also currently working on mapping and kiosks at Round Creek Bay West and Grease Canal Park. The project is continuous as trail mileage and connections are assessed, and new amenities are added for the public. Much of the work involved in the recreational mapping is done in partnership with the GIS division. And the department continues to review any grant opportunities to onboard interns for field data collection and map creation. So that is regarding the comment by Genesee off-road cyclists, the comment about the trail mapping. And we also have updates about the parks connectivity and trail improvements. So County Parks seeks input from the community and remain interested in the connectivity of parks. Connectivity was one of the driving factors in the decision to onboard a consultant for the Around Creek Bay Park System Trail User Survey. It's also one of the driving factors behind the Northampton Park Trail Study. With regard to trail improvement, the department is dedicated to the maintenance of the existing trail system and continuously makes improvement for the long-term benefit of the park and park system. Patron use the environment. Trail maintenance is done on a continuous basis throughout our park system as our park crews cut back overgrowth, remove fallen trees, fix drainage, and resurface trail regularly. And another comment from the block regarding the Glen Haven Creek Stormwater Abatement Project, inquired by the comments, DES share that there's no further action taken or planned by the DES for the near future. And a Glen Haven Creek project appear in the CIP, it would not list under combined sewer overflow abatement program, as this is for discrete physical assets associated with the tunnel system. As for a potential limb, Glen Haven would be used if there was a specific project of which the majority of work was related to the creek. However, if any movement of the creek was instant to other work on given project, then Glen Haven may not appear in the title. And there was a question on the drainage work on Empire Boulevard at the 590 South on-ramp in the summer 2024. And we want to note that Empire Boulevard is a state road. So state DOT And this will be a New York State DOT project, and DES is unaware of the update of the drainage work. Our knowledge is that the project was an unexpected repair, and it was not a pre-planned project. And I will Ishan will reach out to the New York Region 4 to see additional information. And lastly, I want to note about the Empire Boulevard. This was noted in the comments submitted by Mr. Mackay, which mentioned about Empire Boulevard is a vital route linking the county parks destination. Empire Boulevard is a state road, and Monroe County has been working closely with the state DOT to enhance the safety and explore possibility of multimodal infrastructure for the Empire Boulevard. And in December 2024, New York State DOT was awarded $5.3 million grant to support these initiatives. The state is preparing to conduct a construction study for the Empire Boulevard corridor later this year to develop design options and with the goal to improve traffic safety for all users. And that's a lot of updates. And thanks
Good. Yeah.
by all this information. And
May I read the next group or are you good? That's for comments, right? Okay, great. Then you want me to move on to public input? Okay, great. Any other comments from board members or staff? Hearing none, we'll move on to the next item. Item 3, public input for the proposed 2026 through 2031 CIP. Just a summary, we did receive some responses during the public comment periods, March 7 through 19. We received several emails with feedback on the proposed CIP. A common theme across these comments is strong support for efforts to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and implement the county's climate action plan. The received public input emphasized the importance of investing in sustainable infrastructure and improving energy efficiency in county facilities. Copies of the comments will be handed out, and they're being handed out now. If you'd like me to read anything, or if you're scanning through during the meeting and we haven't closed, or you still have a comment or a question on the public comments, please feel free to raise your hand and jump out with that question. Is there, Yishan, is there a way to, do you have this electronically? That the people on Zoom could, yeah, get a copy of this? Maybe email that. Yeah, oh, sorry. Sorry about that. While you're working on that, you want me to run through the climate action plan update? Okay, great. So county planning has provided this in response to an update on the climate action plan. In 2022, Monroe County completed the CIP, phase 1 government operations, which focuses on reducing GHG emissions from county-run sites, facilities, and operation. And in 2023, completed the phase 2 community-wide CGC inventory, greenhouse gas inventory. Updates from Monroe County Sustainable Coordinator, Madison Quinn, include implementation of the Monroe County Climate Action Plan is currently underway. To date, the county has already purchased a number of EVs and electric equipment, installed charging stations at multiple county facilities, and are looking to expand through the development of our clean fleet master plan. The majority of county facilities, as well as streetlights and traffic signals, have been converted to LED lighting. A geothermal heat pump system will be installed as part of the Seneca Park Zoo upgrades. The county will be evaluating our renewable energy generation capacity in the coming years in addition to the existing solar installations adjacent to the Northwest Quadrant Water Resource Recovery Facility and the inactive Gloria Drive landfill. So that's the update from the climate action plan. We had some comment. You want me to read the questions and comments and responses? Okay, so some more. We received the email, page 22, library fleet system replacement. The new trucks purchased by the county should be zero emission. This kind of fixed path route of 62 miles a day is absolutely ideal for an electric vehicle. The library response is MCLS is a few years out from the purchase of new vehicles and will consider zero emission alongside the truck capabilities necessary for safely and efficiently moving MCLS library materials. Page 49, the Division of Engineering and Facilities Management upgrades. One comment was, anytime we upgrade, replace HVAC systems from now on, they must be heat pumps, which can both heat and cool buildings in a much more efficient manner than gas and outdated AC technology. We cannot have new gas infrastructure installed. The state will require retrofits in the mid-2030s in order to meet our climate goals, and these will be stranded assets. And DES Division of Engineering and Facilities Management response is any upgrades to HVAC equipment or any other equipment for that matter will be done in accordance with proper engineering, regulatory, and industry standards. Page 81, spot improvement projects. Comment was, I am grateful that the county has allocated $500,000 each year of this plan for improvements to dangerous road segments and intersections, and I applaud the county's active transportation plan as a whole. We must become less reliant on driving cars in our region and support alternative transportation. We need a culture change in our region, and that will only happen when the majority of people see our roads as safe for walking and biking, even for children. And planning and DOT provided additional input. In recent years, Monterey County has taken various initiatives to improve walking and biking safety throughout the county. In 2020, the County Department of Transportation implemented a complete streets policy within the department for all county road projects. In 2021, the county legislature passed Carrie Ray's 3-foot passing law, which requires motorists to provide a minimum of 3 feet of space when passing bicycles to ensure cyclist safety. In May of 23, the county enacted legislation to provide financial subsidies to towns, helping to offset the costs of sidewalk construction and incentivizing their participation in sidewalk construction. Additionally, in summer of 23, Monterey County completed its first countywide active transportation plan. This plan offers guidance on shaping the built environment to promote multimodal travel, aiming to make it easier and more appealing for people to walk and bike. To further advance these efforts, Monterey County DOT has applied for federal grants and is about to start the development of the County Active Transportation Implementation Plan. This implementation plan will explore and identify practical and achievable active transportation facilities within Monterey County's jurisdiction. The recommendations from this implementation plan will focus on enhancing multimodal capabilities and improving roadway safety for all users. And then we have one last comment here. We received page 94, the sheriff's vehicle replacement. Comment was, I am grateful that the sheriff's fleet includes electric vehicles already and hope they will continue to expand their zero emission and electric options. They are superior vehicles in many ways, and the total cost of ownership is equivalent to internal combustion vehicles. Just a comment, no question. No response needed. Great. So the board members and public are now aware of the comments we received. Is there any comment on those questions Any questions on the responses that the staff prepared? And I want to thank staff for a quick turnaround on those responses. That's great. And if there's no other public comment, then we'll move on to a presentation on the CIP from the Department of Transportation. Sidewalks, bike infrastructure, bike and pedestrian safety outside. I think Legislator Barnhart was interested in this, so. Great.
Hey, great.
Tom,
Thank you
welcome.
for the opportunity to present today. It's a great opportunity for us to show all the good work that DOT does. So thank you for having me
Yeah.
here. I don't necessarily have any slides per se. I mean, sidewalks,
Yeah.
road diets, I mean, I think everyone knows what those are. So I'm going to try to give like a 10,000-foot view of what we do.
Yeah.
I'll be happy to take any questions as well. So for the sidewalks are owned and maintained by the respective towns that they are in. Monroe County will pay 50% of the sidewalk costs. We currently have $5.15 million remaining of the initial $10 million sidewalk fund. And it's only good for new locations, not replacement or repair of existing sidewalk. The towns have to require any necessary right of way. And Monroe County will only pay for the construction costs only, not design, not right of way, permits, insurances, landscaping, lighting, just strictly the construction costs. Aldrich Road was completed as the first project we did. That was completed in 2024. This year, we are planning on doing Paul Road in Shiloh, Miles Square Road in Mendon, Toby Road in Pittsburgh, West Avenue in Brockport, and Allen's Creek Road, Elmwood Avenue, Edgewood Avenue, and Westfall Road in Brighton. They're all scheduled this year for sidewalks.
All for new sidewalks.
Yes.
Okay.
With a successful program. And then upcoming CIP projects that may have sidewalk are Thomas Avenue and Phillips Road.
Is there sorry, can I jump into a question? Okay, is there a waiting list for, you narrow these down, or is it like, it's obviously first come, first serve, or is it you look at the site and say, oh, you know what, this one needs a sidewalk more than this one from a safety standpoint, or what's the process there?
To date, it's first come, first served.
First come, first serve. Is there a waiting list?
No, as soon as we get them in, we've been
Oh.
putting them right out.
And you have how much left over?
Just over 5 million.
Wow,
So we're about halfway through the program.
okay. And how long did you anticipate the program to be? Like 5 years like what was the,
Honestly, I had nothing to do with it. It was
Yeah.
the administration coming up with $10 million and they said, DOT, you're in charge of it and make
Yeah.
it work. So.
Yeah.
I'm surprised, and it's only been, like I said, Aldrich Road was completed in 2024 as the first project, so.
Yeah.
In a year and a half, we already went through half of it, so. And now that it's picking up pace, I wouldn't be surprised another year or two,
yeah,
probably.
It's a brand new program, so
Yeah.
there's never been any subscription before, so that we really couldn't say whether there would be high demand or not until
Right.
we put it in place.
right,
And now putting it in place, we see that there is current demand, and of course, speaking from my understanding of the
right,
program.
okay.
And how was the program funded?
I believe we used a reserve balance.
Better.
It was funded through a budget allocation, which I believe there were reserve funds left over in a prior year that were allocated to this program.
Got it. And I know like most towns require homeowners doing new builds to pay a sidewalk fee.
Right.
That goes entirely to the town. The county's not receiving any of that.
Correct.
Sorry.
So, and what's the official name of that program? It's just but you can find, the towns can find this on the,
Yeah, it's if you go to the Monroe County Development
yeah,
website.
okay,
you Just go to departments and then transportation.
yeah,
It's right on that front page there, and left-hand side at the bottom.
so it's a DOT sidewalk grant, and it's for 50% of new
Yes.
construction costs, gotcha.
The municipal sidewalk funding program.
Great, thank you, sorry, go ahead.
No, certainly. Next, I'd like to talk a little bit about road diets. So, road diets do offer many potential safety benefits. Reduction in rear end and left turn accidents because we're providing a two-way left turn lane. Reduction of side swipe and overtaking accidents because we're eliminating the lane changes. Reduction of right angle accidents because you only have to cross 3 lanes instead of 4. It improves bicyclist safety because we're putting in actual space for bicyclists. And, it improves pedestrian safety because there's less lanes that have to cross the road. There is criteria that has to be met though, and this, I'm gonna get a little engineering geeky here, but, you have to have more than one vehicular travel lane in both directions. You have to have an average daily traffic of 20,000 vehicles per day or less, and a peak hour one-way traffic volume of 875 vehicles per hour per day or less. And this comes straight out of the FHWA guidelines, the Federal Highway Administration. Level of service to all individual approaches must meet the minimum requirements per our policy, because we don't want the intersections to fail.
Right,
We also have to minimize the impact to any available on-street parking, because, businesses or residences, if that's the only parking they have.
sure,
We don't want to take that away from them.
makes sense.
And then, lane and shoulder continuity and adequate transition lanes also must be maintained. So if the particular candidate hits all of those things, we'll consider it for a road diet.
Gotcha.
As you mentioned before, our active transportation implementation plan, which is actually a UPWP study, that's scheduled for this year, that's actually going to create a list of potential candidates for road diets. So we have a list, but our list is probably 10, 15 years old now, so it's good that we're going to get a fresh look at this.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, what's the waiting list or what's the plan for that? What percentage do we expect to get a road diet versus not? Right, is
Again,
it like-
we need to take a look at it. We need
Yeah,
a fresh, clean
yeah.
scrub that. Yeah, so like right now, Culver Road, Culver Road and Arundecoit from City Line to 104. That's gonna be a small road diet that we're actually gonna implement this year.
Okay.
And then Bay Road from 104 to Lake Road, that's being considered for 2026. Now, we've tried to do that one many times before. The residents kept fighting us, and the town always took their side. But now this year, the town's actually siding and saying, yeah, we need a road diet. So
Oh.
we have high hopes for that one. And then, South Clinton from Westfall to the City Line and Crittenden Road in Brighton from West Henrietta to East Henrietta are scheduled for 2027.
Okay. Let's see.
So we have some plans for future road diets and then eventually bike lanes.
So it sounds like you're getting in a handful or less per year. And there's a lot of road projects and maybe just, less than a handful of road diets. So you're in the rough ballpark 5% range, 5 to 10% range, or not even 10%, right? You're probably in the 5% range for what you can swing and meet the criteria every year.
It's quite frankly, it's hard to put a number on
Yeah.
it because we try to be able to take the roads every 7 to 10 years.
Yeah,
So it's what particular roads fall into place on that yearly basis that we have to do something with and then look at it from a road diet perspective. So
right.
yeah, I can't just say, oh yeah,
Yeah.
we aim to get 5% every year because
Yeah,
it's
no.
not feasible. It's like,
Yeah.
you never know what roads are coming up. So
Sure.
So you said you're gonna do a study and take another look and see, get a list together. Like, when do you think that list will be compiled?
Probably next year.
Next year?
Yeah, we're gonna start working on it this year.
Mhm.
So I think probably next year.
Okay, great. And is that gonna be accessible to the towns, so they'll be able to see which roads within their communities are on the list?
I would think, yeah. I mean, we need to approve, we work with the town, so if we're
Yeah.
even considering something like this, yeah, we always reach
Always go
out.
through them.
We always reach out. Yep.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions on the road diets? Oh, okay,
Okay.
keep going.
All right, now move on to dedicated bike lanes
Right.
now. So we have criteria for that as well. So the paved width of the road has to be at least 32 feet wide. We won't significantly reduce the on-street parking, and, what I noted before, I
Right.
don't want to take it away. But the speed limit has to be 40 miles per hour or less. So if those
Okay.
criteria are there, then we will consider bike lanes. Now, this is where it gets a little tricky because the local towns also have to be in support of them. Because parking ordinances have to be passed saying no standing, and then we have to put in a no standing sign every 200 feet for the leaps guidelines. Now, because of the town's parking ordinances, what we do is we put in the signs, install them, but then the towns have to take ownership and maintenance of the signs after the project. So if the towns decide, yeah, we don't want that, just put in shoulders, then we're just gonna put in shoulders. I can't force the towns.
Right.
Like, take over maintenance of that, so.
Right,
So that's one of the things. And then and every job that we have, if there are 5-foot shoulders present, we do reach out to the towns and ask them if they want bike lanes.
good.
A lot of them, quite frankly, prefer the shoulders.
Really?
Yeah, our interpretation of vehicle and traffic law is once you market a bike lane, nobody else can use it. UPS,
Right.
mail, garbage, drop-offs, nobody, Amazon, nobody can use that space.
Yeah, you can't block it, right, yeah,
So if it's just a shoulder, everyone can use it, but if it's dedicated, bike's only.
So what happens when you put in bike lanes, then your emergency shoulder goes away, is what you're saying?
Ultimately, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, it's emergency,
Yeah.
people are gonna use the space.
right, yeah. Okay,
So, previous projects where bike lanes have been installed, we put them in an Elmwood Avenue from the city line to Helmwood. We did that last year. Brighton Henrietta Town Line Road, that's our 2 years ago, we did that. Brighton Henrietta Town Line from Jefferson to Winton. We did that, we put in bike lanes there, but we did have to skip that middle piece from Clay to South Avenue, because the traffic volumes near MCC and the 390 ramps was just too high.
yeah,
And then we did put them in on Long Pond Road from Lyle Road to Gates Grease Town Line.
okay, yeah,
And then we have some upcoming projects that we can consider bike lanes, Marsh Road in Pittsburgh, from Town Line to Route 31. And East Ridge Road right in front of East Ridge High School.
gotcha. Good, any questions on bike lanes for Tom?
And then, quickly moving on, we also have our spot improvement fund. The spot improvement fund is used primarily to widen or add shoulders on rural roads, which can be then used by bicycles and pedestrians. Parish Road was recently completed using these funds. We added 2 to 3 foot shoulders on both sides of the road. That's a spot improvement fund. Signals, we use our traffic engineering fund, partly to fund mile vision cameras. And what we do is we install these mile vision cameras and they're able to detect bicycles. So if a bicycle pulls up, it activates the signal so that they can
Cross,
continue on,
yeah,
and we also buy the rectangular rapid flashing beacons out of the same fund. And then last thing I have for you is to talk a little bit about the speed feedback signs. We did install 2 permanent ones on Lake Shore last year, just due to the high volume of pedestrians and the on-street parking at the beach. And then in addition to that, we do rotate a portable speed feedback sign, about 2 to 3 weeks at a time, based on constituents' requests.
okay. Any questions for, thanks, Tom, any questions for Tom on speed or legislator Barnhart?
No, I was
You
just gonna say, thank you so much for the update and the presentation. I appreciate it.
Pleasure, thank you.
Good. Yeah, thanks for coming in. That was great. A number of us are in favor of the active transportation, so, and we all want safe roads, so. With that, I'll move on to the next item, which is to close the public comment period for the proposed 2026 through 2031 CIP. We've received comments and responded to all of them as well. So time to close out. Any motion for that, please.
So moved.
Thanks, Mike. Is there a second? Second. Thank you, Andrew. Any comments on that? Hearing none. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Are there any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, thank you, everyone. Next is the item 5, voting on the recommended proposed 2026 through 2031 capital improvement program to the county executive. It is the culmination of this book and the revisions, comments, and updates that you've received. I need a motion for that, please.
So moved.
Thank you, David. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Orlando.
my apologies, what is it that we're doing?
We are voting to recommend the proposed 2026 through 2031 capital improvement program to the county executive.
Okay, and the results of the voting as well, or just,
It'll be the plan, and then what we'll do is after that, we'll talk about priorities.
okay.
Right, so that'll be the next vote. That's a good question. So, with that, it's your final chance for questions on the CIP. Just anything in this book, any questions, departments are all here, members, any other questions? Last chance. Any comments? I'd like to thank everyone for their work. It's a year-long process and, so, and you put, effort into it, you can tell. And, just from every angle, from tracking debt to trying to, keep things, at top notch. So, yeah, thank you for that, everyone. Anyone else?
I agree with all that, especially the past couple of weeks as we've asked for some questions on how things have tracked year over year.
Yeah.
Just the ability to turn that around pretty quickly is not unnoticed and much appreciated.
Yeah. Hearing no other comments. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, thank you. Next is the prioritization vote. And with that, I think what we'll do is, yeah, I know the motion, this was passed along to everyone, correct? So, okay, why don't we do that? Yeah. Good. So being passed around is the 2026 capital budget year projects priority ranking. You voted online or on paper, called it in, phoned in a friend, did something, right? And this is the result. And Patrick, if you want to go ahead and take it over.
So first, just some clarity for those on the Zoom legislators. Your version looks slightly different than those in-house, but I'm going to go into those details. So what we have in front of us in person is the true raw rankings of the voting. So on your far left side is the priority ranking 1 to 73, I believe, based on the averages you received, which is on the far right-hand side of your document. However, there's a lot of ties. There always are. This year it seemed to have a bit more ties than normal, and so I wanted to refine it slightly for you. And I did so at the last moment, which is why there's a digital version, but not a printed version. The digital version up there has 2 columns on the left-hand side. One is priority with aid. And so what that means is I sorted it so that when there was a tie, the projects that were receiving federal or state aid rose to the top. My ranking, not necessarily the board's, but the thought there was that we are getting funds coming into Monroe County. So therefore, that project is more important to happen within that year at the very least, and at least resolve some of the tie situations. However, it doesn't change all. It changes a total of 7 spots in the overall program. And specifically, it moves, and let me give you the quick definition here. So currently, priority ranking number 21, which is DOT Highways and Bridges, Highway Preventive Maintenance 12, would move up to number 15. Number 19, I apologize for going out of order. This is the way it works. The DES Division of Pure Waters, electrical improvements, rises to or falls to number 20. Parks, number 20, buildings and structures, goes from 20 to 21. Priority ranking currently 25 moves to 24, which is aviation, airport, utility system improvement because of the need coming into the county. Aviation, or I'm sorry, priority ranking 26, would move to 25, once again, because there's, federal and state aid coming in for that project. That is general aviation apron improvements. The same goes for, project currently number 24, which is, Monroe Community College Capital Equipment Replacement Technology, moves to 26. So that technically falls in the rankings, just because it has less, aid coming in than the other two projects. And then two more. On your second page, number 49, aviation heavy equipment. That falls to, or that rises to number 48, simply because there is, just under, $1.5 million, give or take, of aid coming in for that. And then, number 48, Monroe Community Hospital Equipment Furnishings Resident Care, slides from 48 to 49 because of the lack of aid coming in for that project. So I wanted to present the board with an option because there are so many ties, that, it just felt like you should have an option in terms of finding some way to resolve those ties. That is up to the board as to whether they make that change or not. And also, of course, one of the other purposes of this conversation is you all voted with certain priorities in your mind, but because of the group of you, sometimes those priorities don't always rise to the top. And so the far right column, updated priority ranking, is your opportunity to tell us you think a certain project should rise higher up. Whether that's all the way to the top or somewhere in the middle, you tell us, and we will adjust accordingly before we insert this into the CIP that is recommended to the county executive. Questions? I know it's a bit complicated, and please refer to the digital version if it helps.
So just to clarify.
Yep.
When we prioritize these, what you're recommending is to use column number 2
That is an option,
as an option.
yes. And you,
If you,
to be
yeah.
clear, Bill, you and I only have column number 2. So not everyone has that.
got it. Okay,
So the digital version does have column 2, which is what Chairman is referring to.
okay,
Priority with aid funding.
Okay.
That Ishan is highlighting right now.
got it.
Personally, I support using column 2. I mean, even as I was going through doing the voting, had that in the back of my mind that if we were getting aid, then that would definitely change my calculation.
Right.
But I mean, it's a lot of information for me to
Right.
try to figure out which ones are getting aid. So I really appreciate the work that you went through to do this, and I would definitely support using column 2.
Yeah,
Same.
yeah. It's part of my voting prior, my constraints. I subtract the number when it receives. So it does, yeah. Yeah, so I agree with that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that
Very
makes
good.
sense.
Good, Dave, yeah. Yeah, everyone else fine with that? So. Are there any?
I was gonna say ironically, some of the changes I was gonna suggest just happen to align with that,
Okay.
not knowing that, so
Okay,
that's.
great. Orlando, you are. Are there, so the second part of the question is, are there any items that you see in here that like, wait a minute, that one should be up a little higher because it's a safety issue, or it's I don't know, a vision issue, a vision for the county, or maybe it's a marketing public awareness issue. So just spin through these and see if there's anything that might be a hot button for the county that,
Well, I can add one. So 29, right, it's under engineering facilities, the Ames
Yeah.
building improvement.
right?
So I ranked that high just because we put it in 26 because of the high priority that it
Yeah.
has associated with autopsies
Yeah,
and the issues going on with drugs and all that kind of stuff. So
I did too. I
Yeah.
put it as a 1 because of that, just because the families have been waiting for results and it's been kind of a hot button.
Correct.
So thank you for bringing that up. Where would you think, keep in mind, you've got 73 projects, so 29 is not bad. You're almost in the upper third. You're on the first page here, so,
just as a,
yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe the legislators can,
Just, just for reference though, this list is only used if there's a problem with funding the whole CIP. And it's just a guide for the county executive where if he has to pull back, where
Right,
he pulled back. In all my years as serving as a legislator, and I was on county planning for 6 years before I was a legislator, that's
Yeah.
never happened over the last 25 years.
no, I agree with you. It's just from an optics standpoint, that's all. And actually, we kind of would like to hear from the legislators from an optics standpoint. Are you okay with where it's at? At 29?
This makes sense to me.
Yes, I mean, the more that is something I hear calls on once in a while. You're talking about the medicals.
Yeah, it's the Ames
yeah.
building expansion.
And
So are you saying that it's okay to move it up some, or are you
Or
okay?
no, I'm
Oh,
okay
leave it
where I'm okay where it is, because I think as much of the problem is the CIP part of it, the bigger problem to that department right now is getting it fully staffed. Is more of the problem than the CIP items.
Okay,
I concur.
okay. So staffing's a big problem right now. So they have space to do things. We have walked through there. We have done a tour of that. So, okay, that's good feedback. Anyone else comment? I'm gonna,
Just a quick question. I mean, I know we're talking about a scenario that hasn't happened, but say it goes to budget and they actually look at this, anything that's enterprise cash isn't impacted by that anyways, right? So they're not gonna say we're not gonna do airport stuff because the airport's paying for it and the federal government's paying for it, right? Is that
yeah,
true?
is that
I don't know if
That's fairly accurate, but the county puts in 5%, but it'd be pretty foolish on most of those airport projects. We either fund 5 or 10%, but it'd be pretty foolish for us to cut a project with that
right?
big of outside funding.
But we still have to run the project, right?
Well, so maybe Joe can answer this. So any of the cash components that comes out of operating funds?
Yes.
So the CIP may have some issues, but then does the operating fund have issues where that gets chopped? So theoretically,
Yeah.
it could be an impact.
Yeah, because if I look at 25 and 26, doesn't look like any county or district money is going there. It's enterprise, state and federal.
Right.
So I'm assuming that means it's a non-issue for those sort of things. Is that a safe assumption as I understand it?
Yeah, I think in the case of enterprise, well, so that'd be correct. In the case of enterprise at the airport, right, there's the airport authority.
Yeah.
Which they get their money from land use fees, that type of thing,
Mhm.
right? I think so. Empty waters, we get ours from user
Yeah.
fees, so yeah.
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 And then so then those enterprises contract with the county to run the project. You do the construction management of the project, right? Okay,
Yeah, but I can tell you, finance, if there's pain to be felt, yes, even though we raise our own money, we feel the pain like everybody else.
Right.
So
yeah,
just because we're enterprise doesn't mean we're excluded for anything.
right.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions on that? Any items, any other projects? No other comments? Thank you for those. I do need a motion for, it sounded like consensus on the column 2, the priority with the aid funding. I did a motion for that, Andrew. And how about a second, please?
Second.
Millie, thank you. Sorry, Mike. Billy hasn't raised her hand yet. Yeah, right? Get everyone in here. Any other comments on that? So we're voting on the priority with aid funding, column number 2 there on the screen, and it's the order that you see on your handout. Any other comments for that? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, thank you for that. All right, next item.
Very helpful.
Yeah, this was great. Thanks, Ken. As item 7, we have several action items. First item is item 7A, to increase the total project authorization for the project entitled Sheriff's Scuba Truck Replacement by $50,000 from $250,000 to $300,000 for a total project authorization of $300,000, and increase the total project authorization for the project entitled Sheriff's Body Worn Camera and Taser Project by $690,000 from $2.66 million to $3.35 million for a total project authorization of $3,350,000. I need a motion for both of those, please.
Motion.
Thank you, Richard. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Orlando. And we have a presentation.
Jennifer, yes,
Jennifer, welcome.
thank you for having me back.
Yes.
So these projects, I guess they were approved for bond financing, but, they revised it and did cash capital. So I guess some language was omitted with that referral, so that's all that this referral is doing. But I did do a presentation again on the projects that it is funding. You heard about the body worn cameras, last week.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much the same, it's the same project, nothing's different here. We do have several different funding sources for this besides just capital. We do have some grant funding. And again, it's for 320 body worn cameras and 65 dash cameras. And we purchased 210 taser devices as well. The body worn cameras are not deployed yet. They, trying to get the infrastructure in place.
Right. And the increase for the scuba truck, 50,000, that's
Yeah.
that's
the next.
Oh, next slide.
So this is the current truck that we have. It's only 25 feet long. It's a Chevy Kodiak 2006, so it is almost 20 years old. And because of all the scuba equipment that is in that truck, it's really not sufficient for it to be moving down the road. So there's a lot of wear and tear on it. Obviously they have tanks.
Yeah.
They do have an underwater robot. So we want to get a little bit bigger truck. The next slide shows the little bit bigger. It's like, I think it's almost 40 feet long, and it will have like straps for the tanks, a little bit more storage, a little heavier truck, I believe. We will have to go out to bid for this. So this is what we want to bid on, or have, get bids on. Approximately $700,000 is the estimate we're getting right now. So obviously, we do not have enough funding for that. I think we're gonna maybe dip into that fleet fund that I talked about last week, or we might have to come back to you guys depending on once we get all those bids back.
Okay, so for now, this one's for 300,000, but that's more of a budget of the old truck. Gotcha. And you're exceeding the ratings and things like that of the old truck and life of that.
Yeah, the life expectancy of that
Okay.
original truck.
Diesel or gas or EV?
This one, the next slide shows what the chassis is. It's a Freightliner, 2026 Freightliner.
So it's gas.
I think it's gas, yeah.
Thank you.
And there's 2 years a wait, so even if we purchase it today, it'll be a 2-year wait for them to build it out.
Oh, I see.
So we just buy the chassis and then we buy the chassis and then the company builds.
Customizes.
Yeah.
Okay,
No.
yeah, I think that's the answer to my question. I was just wondering if it was designed as a scuba.
Yes,
Okay.
eventually then.
Right, right. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. What happens with the old truck?
I think we're gonna keep it. Maybe, I don't know what team's gonna get it.
It's a decision right now whether we auction it off and put that into like county proceeds or if we're able to repurpose it, but it's not, by the time the new truck comes in, I'll be surprised if this one is still on the road.
Yeah, that's 20 years old. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Alright.
So that was the increase, so there could be another increase for the truck, so down the
Could
line,
be, if we
yeah.
can't find
Right.
alternative funding for it, yeah.
And then the 690,000 increase for the body worn camera and taser, is that expanded scope or is just the prices gone up?
It's just for the contract. Bob has it all figured out. I don't know if he'll get it. Bob has it all figured out with financing and what we needed each year, alternating with the grants and everything else. So
Gotcha.
I don't know if they can answer that better.
When we entered into the purchase agreement for the 10-year life of the program, we came back to Mr. Franklin and showed him what we could pay for with grant money.
Yeah.
And he recommended this plan to be able to save money up front with cash capital, but it would increase over time so that we would have a fund at the end of the 10 years to be able to replace the equipment.
Gotcha, okay.
Do you have a vendor yet for that?
Yes.
They're already
Body worn cameras?
Yeah.
Yeah, Tom, yes.
Okay. Just have to connect them into infrastructure, right? Gotcha. And probably, cut everything over. Got it. Any other questions on these two items? Comments? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, thank you for
Yeah.
doing that again, yeah. Next item is item 7B, amend the 2025 through 2030 capital improvement program to expand the scope of and to advance the Vintage Lane Bridge over Round Pond Creek project from 26 to year 2025 and amend the 2025 capital budget to add a project entitled Vintage Lane Bridge over Round Pond Creek in the amount of $829,000, and I need a motion for that, please. Thank you, Millie. Sean is the second. And the presenter, the Tom. Yeah, welcome back.
Yeah, thank you. So the project involves a replacement of that particular bridge that carries Vintage Lane over Round Pond Creek.
Yeah.
Approximately 300 feet east of the Vintage Mill Road Long Pond intersection. There's gonna be some highway approach work, and stream channel improvements. We plan to design it this year and next year with anticipated construction in 2027. The reason for the extra increase is, one, inflation, and two, we found that we probably are most likely gonna have to build the bridge one half at a time. And the reason for that is there's so much, due to its close proximity with 390, there's so much traffic volumes coming off of that. If we were to try a detour, it would hit other roads that are already at capacity at peak levels, and we just bomb out a lot of the other intersections. So if we build it half the time, we can keep the traffic there. It's just, there's a cost associated with doing that.
And it moved up because of that as well, or did money become available? Is that, it was supposed to be 26 and now it's going to 25.
Yeah, I think it was just more of a balancing with CIP.
Balancing, so, yeah. And they're gonna do half and then another half in 26 or something like
Yeah,
that?
this is the federal funds. I believe part of this is the bridge in New York.
Oh, okay,
So because we got the funds, a lot of the bridges moved up.
Moved up.
Added in the CIP.
Okay.
That's what it was.
Bridges, gotcha.
I got a question. Why is there 2 years to do the study? The engineering study? It seems usually you do study 1 year and build the next.
I mean, it's kind of sort of, I mean, we have to get design, we're gonna have to get right of way alone is gonna take a year. Because we have to follow the federal aid process. So we first have to get the consultant on board and then, consultants on board. Yeah, we have to get the consultant, get the survey, get the design going, determine our right of way needs. Once we know the right of way needs, that's gonna take a year, and then we can go out to bids.
All right, it's just because this project is so big and complicated is what is driving the extra year timing.
I wouldn't be surprised, yes.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Hearing no other comments or questions, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, thank you. Motion is approved. Next item is item 7C, is to amend the 2025 through 2030 capital improvement program to expand the scope of and to advance the Turk Hill Road Bridge over Thomas Creek tributary project from 2027 to 2025 and amend the 2025 capital budget to add a project entitled Turk Hill Road Bridge over Thomas Creek tributary in the amount of $939,000. Any motion for that, please?
So moved.
Thank you, Millie. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, David. Let me back up. I imagine it's somewhat similar.
Yeah, pretty much right on the spot there.
Yeah.
So this is the Turk Hill Road Bridge, it's county owned. Same thing as before, we're gonna be doing some highway approach work, some channel improvements. It is gonna be a 2-year design legislator Colby because it is such a big project. There's actually 20 feet of earth fill at each end of the bridge that we gotta somehow maintain traffic on and figure out. So this is a very big project. Scheduled construction in 27 and similar with the other bridge, this is gonna have to be constructed in 1/2 of the time. Because if we were to shut this route down, we'd be sending thousands of cars through the village and airport.
Yeah.
And that'll just bog that whole area down. So,
Yeah.
like before, there's a cost with building the bridge half of the time, but we don't see another way to do it.
Yeah. Any questions on this one?
No, but I will comment, going back to even the CIP, the way it is now, you do have funding, for instance, in 27 and construction not starting until 29. So that 2-year process had always been built into your procedure. It's not like that just came up now. That's something you had anticipated.
Thank you. Yep.
Thanks, Sean. Anything else? Any other comments? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Any abstentions? Ayes have it. Motion is approved. Item 7D is to amend the 2025 through 2030 capital improvement program and the 2025 capital budget to add a project entitled Clem Road Culvert in the amount of $2,196,000. Need a motion for that, please. Andy, thank you, Andrew. And a second. Mike, thank you. You're on.
All right, thank you. Same thing. This is it's called county owned culvert yet again. Same thing. We're gonna be doing approach work, highway approach work and channel improvements. 2-year design, 25 to 26, construction 27. The reason this is a new project is because we applied for Bridge New York funding. We received it. So Bridge New York is actually paying 68% of the funding to the bridge. So.
Okay. Bridge New York, 68%. And this is a culvert or is it actual bridge?
This is a culvert.
Yeah, yes. So you're still,
In the past years, they had Bridge New York funding and culvert New York funding.
Yeah.
This time it's just.
okay, got it.
Yeah, it's continuing.
And they're gonna do it all at once or they need half and half
No,
again?
this will be all.
All at once.
Is that a 12-foot culvert or bigger?
Clem Road, that's up in Webster.
Might have the information there.
Just curious.
Well, I'll say it's under 20.
Yeah.
It's gotta be other, yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
only one that's approved, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's the ticket.
Yep. Any other comments, questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion's approved. Next item, 7E, is to amend the 2025 through 2030 capital improvement program to advance the traffic signal and systems replacement group 1 project from 2026 through to 2025 and amend the 2025 capital budget to increase funding from the project entitled Traffic Signal and Systems Replacement Group 1 by $2,750,000 for a project total authorization of $3,030,000. Any motion for that, please?
So moved.
Thank you, Millie. Is there a second? Thank you, Richard. You're on, Tom.
Yeah, thank you again. So this project is being advanced, because we're actually able to complete the design early. And the state had actually requested that we move this project up to use whatever available funds they had, because they're actually paying 95% of the project costs.
Okay,
This project is noted 7 traffic signals, so a couple of them in the city, a couple of them in the county, replacing underground conduit, mast arm signal poles, pedestrian signal upgrades, ramps. Pretty much everything you think, that would have to go with a pedestrian signal, and then a push button across the streets.
okay, great. And this is various locations.
Yes, primarily Dewey, there's a.
Oh, gotcha.
There. That's, can we go one slide sooner? Isha?
Oh,
Yeah, there's other locations, it's called Dewey and
Dewey Avenue.
Dewey and a couple of degrees too.
Gotcha.
So there's lights that are currently there and these are
Replacing.
replacing them?
Yeah, they're old lights, they're the worst condition that we have.
Okay, so it's an upgrade to, Something
Not
different.
upgrade, replace.
got it, okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
replace.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
But when you replace them, you change the design to the newer.
Well, we'll, yeah, like, we're not gonna use traffic loops, we'll use smile vision cameras like we talked about
Right,
before,
right.
because they can, detect flash, so.
Yeah.
We use current technology.
Yeah, right. Your current standards,
Yeah,
that's what
we'll
you're gonna be
most
at.
likely have the audible, buttons.
Yep.
So so blind people can hear it and cross.
Good. Any other questions? Nope. Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, motion's approved. Thank you. Next item is to amend the 2025 through 2030 capital improvement program and 2025 capital budget to expand the scope of and increase the funding for the project entitled Highway Preventative Maintenance Number 11 by, let's see if that adds up. Yep, by $3,300,000 from $5,307,000 to $8,607,000 for total project authorization of $8,607,000. Need a motion for that, please. Thank you, Molly. Is there a second? Orlando, thank you. Right, Tom, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you again.
Yeah.
So the project roads are on that screen up there. Project involves, milling and resurfacing, storm sewer cleaning, curb and gutter repairs, ADA ramp replacements, and replacement of pavement markings and signal loops with traffic detection cameras. Because again, that's kind of the direction we want to head in, because they need to detect the bikes. Start work in the spring of 25 and complete construction in summer of 26. And this is 95% paid for by federal and state funds.
Okay.
And increased cost is more due to deeper repairs that we found we have to do, the cameras.
Okay, that's what I was gonna ask where the increases are.
Do you address like any potholes and things like that as you go through?
Oh, yeah, we'll mill the whole road, absolutely.
Ah.
And then if there's a deeper repair, we'll get the deeper repair too.
What determines that? You find damage underneath? Cracks
Yeah,
and
what we'll
things
do,
once you
we'll
mill it?
mill an inch and a half, 2 inches off. I don't know if
Yeah.
we made a determination yet.
Right.
Whatever mill depth will get most of the deterioration, we'll
Right.
mill that. And then once we mill it, if we happen to see that there's something deep.
You inspect it and
Yes.
see, okay, I see. Good. Any other questions on that? All right, hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Any abstentions?
Thank you.
Great, motion's
Thank you.
approved. Thanks for coming in, Tom.
Hey, what were the, C and D, what were the cost increases for those? Do you have those numbers?
C and D, yeah. I did. Yep. Oh, I don't have it. It was they're moving the project to 8 from 8.
Changing it years, but not changing the cost.
That's the way I read it, right? You had the, right time.
Or
It was, the
Turk Hill.
829, yep, vintage, Turk Hill and
Plum Road Culvert.
Lime. Moving them up.
But, project scope, estimate cost is staying the same.
yes.
Yeah, there, I didn't see any change across there, yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. Good. Any other business?
I want to conclude the CIP meetings. I want to thank all the board members to attend the meetings and review the materials and engage in conversation to discussion. And thank you for your time.
Yeah, I agree with that. Thanks for your efforts. Everything's appreciated from this entire group. Hearing no other business, our next scheduled meeting is March 27th. Do we need anything?
I see that.
Okay.
So it's like the pencil, but I'm gonna leave it in the calendar just in case some people.
Okay.
And I'll send out a cancellation.
Okay.
Days before, so.
And that's the normal time at 3:30. So and then, yeah, if needed. And then our next regular meeting after the 27th is the 24th of April at 3:30. And I need a motion for adjournment, please.
So.
Thank you, David and Andrew. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.
That one.